for joining in today. Moving on to the other topic, EPC pipes, pump stocks are all buzzing in trade because the Union Cabinet has approved the extension of the Jal Jeevan mission till 2028. They've also upped the allocation by 1.5 lakh crore rupees. So now the program outlay stands at 8.6 lakh crore rupees. Ashish Modani, Senior Vice President and Group Head at ICRA, Vimal Kejriwal, MD and CEO at KEC International are now joining in. Thank you very much for joining in, Mr. Kejriwal. Morning. If I may begin with you. For you, Jal Jeevan mission, I believe, is only 4% of your order book. In the past, is that correct first? And in the past, there have been a lot of execution delays, corruption allegations. So what was your experience with Jal Jeevan mission in phase 1? And now with phase 2, are you more excited?
Morning, Rima, thanks for having me. So you're right that we are around 1,400 crores, so roughly 4% would be our order backlog today. Okay. If I may add on my execution experience, if you take it 1.5 years back, till that time it was great. Okay. You will do your work, raise your bill by the end of the month, and in 3 or 4 days you used to get paid. So the projects were going on pretty smoothly. Suddenly something happened and there was a break, and I think last 1.5 years or so, there has been I'll say a huge suffering on account of non-payment, and obviously resulting in a slowdown of projects. So I think that's the background. When you talked about corruption, other things, I think around 3-4 months back, central government did an audit of various projects, and a lot of action was taken against contractors and people who had engaged in not so great activities. I think all that has been weeded out, and I think that's probably the reason why the central government has now approved the funding.
So would you look to aggressively participate now, Mr. Kejriwal, just to complete this point?
Too early to say. I will just like to see what happens on the ground. The reason why I'm saying is that if you look at the last year's budget also, government had allocated around, I think, 67,000 crores, and nothing was paid out of it. In March, they said they'll pay 17, which I understand we did not get paid because the allocation came too late. Now, they already allocated another 63,000 crores. So I think we need to see the action on the ground. Although whatever we have spoken to the people in the last overnight, the state teams are excited, saying that this should solve the problem. Because although there was a budgetary allocation, I think there was no formal cabinet approach. That's why the funds were not flowing into the states.
Right. Mr. Kejriwal, morning, Prashant here. So you have some outstanding, sir, from these all these projects that you worked on?
We have roughly around, I don't know, but around 800 or 900 crores.
So first order of business is that that gets cleared, right? Or you would expect that to get cleared now with this allocation made?
So Prashant, what has happened is if you look at the whole financial year, we have been paid around 600 and odd crores. And most of it has been paid out, I'll say largely everything has been paid by the state share. So if you look at the PIB release, there's a 41% the central government share. So typically they should have paid in this money, which has not been paid, so states have contributed. So you're right that hopefully with this allocation, the backlog should be cleared. But otherwise what we have been doing is whatever money we have been getting, around 600 or whatever we have got, that much we have pumped back in the projects. So, yeah.
But outstanding still is about 800 crores. And that will need to be paid by the center.
I don't know what would be the final arrangement between the center and the state. But each of them have got a different arrangement. Someone has 40% share, someone has a 50% share. So the schemes are different. So yes, but we do expect that the center should release the backlog and that should get paid. And once that gets paid, obviously the pace will get accelerated.
The business that you've done so far, Mr. Kejriwal, on Jal Jeevan mission, how was that for your company when it came to return ratios, the margins, the size of the opportunity? Obviously not as big in your overall scheme of things. Some companies it's a lot bigger than what it would be for KEC. So now with this one coming in, would you still be interested given your experience of the first one?
So as I said, Bangla, initially the experience was very good. Okay. So if that sort of thing again translates into cash flows and everything, we would be interested. But let me make a couple of points here. One of the reasons why the projects are getting delayed is there has been no commensurate increase in the capability and the capacity at the states. Like one of the states where I am doing projects, now they have very few people in the state who can approve designs and engineering and all that. So most of the projects are actually getting delayed because of, I'll say, short staffing at the state level. I think that is one of the biggest issues. And I think the second issue, which is a common issue across all EPC, not just water, is the involvement of the district administration in all these projects. So we really need a lot more involvement of, let's say, the commissioner and everyone else to clear things out so that these projects can be rolled out fast. So I think we also need to sort that issue out, which will lead to fast tracking of projects.
Ashish, come in on, the point about the receivables, right? For Mr. Kejriwal, it's about 800 crore rupees. Would you have a number in terms for the industry? What is the outstanding receivables linked to Jal Jeevan Mission? And will that be cleared with this outlay?
Hi, good morning. So receivable has been an issue for the entire, most of the players who are there in this segment. So receivable, I don't have the actual number right now, but when I'm talking to my clients, some of them have 4 to 6 months of receivable money pending over there. So there is sizable build-up. So when it was initially started, the payments were very timely. Actually, people used to get money within a month period itself. But the problem has been pretty elongated for last 1.5 years, and that is also getting reflected in very limited outflow vis-a-vis what was the budgetary plan initially. So some of the players whom we are interacting, they are witnessing almost 6 months of receivable build-up. The quantum I may not have right now, but in terms of duration, it is pretty large, and that's why many of them have intentionally slowed down the execution, because there is no point in executing it and billing it if they are not able to recover money. Having said that, the problem was much more acute in some states, especially in UP and Rajasthan, vis-a-vis few other states. So we expect this thing to streamline going forward. Like Mr. Kejriwal said, we are also expecting receivable to get cleared. It will not be immediate, but in the next 3 to 4 months timeline, this should be streamlined, and the receivable outflow or outstanding should come down to around 1.5 or 2 months, maybe by September 2026.
Got that. So if that were to happen, then it would obviously improve the financial situation, the working capital situation of a lot of these companies, and perhaps increase the execution as well. Back to you, Mr. Kejriwal. You said that there is short staffage at the administrative level, but that seems to be a problem for the entire EPC space as well right now. Labor shortage. We were talking about it recently. So if you could comment on how that situation is right now, that's point one. And secondly, since we have you with us, there is a crisis going on in West Asia. You have exposure to that business. Do you think it's business as, execution is going on out there? What about further opportunities in terms of orders, etc.?
So Mangalam, on your first point, what I said was not exactly labor part, it was more staff shortage at the client end in the water department. So, you submit designs, there are no design approvals coming, etc., which are delaying the projects. Labor shortage is an endemic thing, so that's a different issue. It was more on the client side where we were running into, because of limited capability. The number of projects they awarded was very large, and they did not beef up the water department or whatever you want to call it. That was the problem. So I do hope that, some money of this goes into, actually strengthening the local teams and the water department also. Okay, coming to your second question, yes, we, on the West Asia, as we discussed, I think last week also, we have a order book of roughly 10,000 crores. And it's spread over 4 countries, largely Saudi and UAE, and a part of it in Oman and Kuwait. So Oman is running absolutely normally. Saudi, as of now, till yesterday evening, has been running normally. We had 1 or 2 projects which are very close to a refinery or something which are on hold. So Saudi, we have had till now no impact at all on the project side. UAE has been stop and start. You have projects going on, then suddenly you get some warning saying stop for some time, we stop, then again restart. So UAE has been a little bit of a problem. 1 or 2 projects which are near a data center or refinery are shut down. Rest are going on. My factory has been running well. In fact, last time I had said that it had been shut down, but that was only for a day. We had met on a day when it was not running. But after that, the factory has been running continuously. So I think project execution, I'll say around 75-80% in the West is going on.
Just one final question. Ashish, did you speak to your clients post the announcement of this Jal Jeevan Mission Part 2, 8.6 lakh crore outlay? What was their feedback?
The primary feedback is everybody is cautious right now, how the actual receivable will get cleared. Because nobody, when I'm talking to the clients, nobody's talking about the incremental order inflows and all. The primary focus is to get receivable cleared. So that's the primary thing. And if you talk about the yesterday announcement by Minister also, they were also trying to streamline the things, get systems in places. So how this eventually gets panned out, that remains to be seen. So immediate focus is on the receivable, and the clients are definitely optimistic on that front.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining in. We will slip into a break on that note. On the other side, Sriram Subramaniam of InGovern and Mark Martin of Martin Consulting will join in as Indigo CEO Peter Elbers resigns with immediate effect. Stay tuned.